And this talk is called The Joy of Being, simply because there is so much simply to arrive into the being. There's such richness, such, how could we say, a quality of meeting life, of meeting something real, you know, of being there. If I can be there with you, like now, it's like I start to receive, we start to communicate, we start to engage into sharing of life, sharing in life. Do you understand? This quality of being is very essential for our happiness. And with the sacred clown, we try to cherish that. You probably felt some of that in the way we work with the clown. We probably experienced some of that being with feeling life, with experiencing. You probably experienced some of that, no? Yeah?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
It touched something. What does it touch in you? You tell me.
That's the heart.
Thank you. Exactly. I said you just got to the point. Touches the heart. And you know there is nothing, you already know that. There's nothing more beautiful than touch the heart, is there? Is there something better in life than touch the heart? You tell me. It's not television, or the mobile, or Facebook. Is it? It's not the same, huh? Okay. Now it's something more profound about our humanness, how we can, us human, engage into that closeness, into that intimacy of sharing of life. You know, it's very, very profound for me, and I'm dedicated with the way I teach performing art, that we come to this courage of sharing of our heart, the courage, that we dare to have the courage. It needs courage. Why? Why does it need courage? You tell me. Take a risk.
Because when we are in our heart, we are really vulnerable.
Exactly. This is the part.
Yeah.
The vulnerability. How do we deal with our vulnerability? How do we address our vulnerability in our lives? We are all, the fact is, in this room, each of us is vulnerable somewhere in themselves. But we hide it. We pretend it's not there. We pretend something else rather than feel that. Huh? That is human. There's nothing to judge, and I certainly am not judging. But simply, we have to recognize that with vulnerability comes, it's only a difficulty to really accept it, to really accept our vulnerability, to hold it, to hold that little one inside in our own arms. Huh? It's difficult. Why? We most of the time lack understanding and tools to work with it, to transform it, to make sense of it, to understand the more profound level of, you know, the most profound level of what is vulnerability. You know, really, there is something very profound there. You see, you have a sense of why? Why is it profound, this vulnerability? I feel like I'm engaging with you like that. Because we know a bit of each other, somewhere or another, already. Huh? You already know. So we can engage a bit more. So why?
Maybe because we are naked in our vulnerability and we don't have a mask, and then we are more here present.
There we are naked. There is a quality of nakedness, and with that nakedness, there is a purity, that also, a purity of perception, that is also there. And, well, so we need to see that, okay, we have to see the fact in our society it's not easy to be with those things, because there is so little understanding of the role of vulnerability and the power it has. The power, this is what we should, at school, help the children to see when they feel vulnerable that actually they are getting more powerful. The opposite of what we try to hide it, but actually we are touching something very real of ourselves, and very much in some way I've noticed also that so much from our wounds, so often we create things from our wounds. We talk about the wounded healer, you know, and in some way through that vulnerable like gateway we reach our deeper level of being. It's a gateway. So we need to have some tools to how do I cope with feeling vulnerable? You know, what does it give me? It's like we try to avoid it, and in that we create more suffering. You understand? This is the problem. We create more suffering by avoiding it, by pretending it's not there. Because what? It will have to be met one day or another. And for example, one little example, our fear of death is very much to do with also meeting our vulnerability. You understand? The fact is, you know, we have to face, one day or another, we have to face our vulnerability. So, for me, I have started my life from that place, and this is how I've come to teach what I teach. Simply from my own vulnerability. I just give a brief picture. So basically, by the age of 20, I started to feel, what do I do with my life? I have nothing to lose, I am a zero, so I felt, I'm just going to search. There is something more than this suffering I live all the time in. So I started to search, you know, and I decided I have nothing to lose. So actually, my breakthrough is, you know, I worked for 6 months as an electronician in a workshop, electronic workshop. There were many electronic things around, and I had 6 months, and then I realized, because when I was repairing sound system and all this, and I was putting music in there, as soon as my boss was away, I was putting music very loud, I was dancing through on the table, and I felt, this is me. That, you know, I really recognized in myself a natural joy there. And this is how I started my life. I then decided to leave the job and go to a circus school in Paris, and that's how my life started. I felt finally I had found some joy in my life. You know, this is how I started, by dropping everybody, everything. So it gave me that suffering a possibility to let go, to not be attached to many things. Just to, I feel I have nothing to lose. I've seen the worst. Nothing to lose. So that's how I left my family. I left the job that was to give me money the rest of my life. Everybody had planned for me, safe job, very good money, electronic. At that age it was like the future. And I said no to everything, my family too, and I went to the circus school. Nobody thought I was completely cuckoo. But I enjoyed myself. That was the main point. So basically, vulnerability can really actually be an opening to discovering new things, a new way for ourselves. That's a fact. So it's a very important element, this vulnerability. I feel the other element that is very important in order to to reach that deeper place in oneself is a sense that there is something bigger than me, the small me. There is something greater, more all-encompassing, you know. And it's like within me there is something of wisdom nature, of divine nature in each of us. There is. And to start to find a way to understand that part of us, to start to nourish it, is also very essential. So these two elements I find very much need to work together for us to live more happily, more relating to something that has hope, that has in some way that has the potential to make us grow deeper in ourselves. So I come back to that coming home to ourselves.